I think it's gonna be okay. This one, it's not okay. It's a little bit scary, but it's not that ghosty scary.
We're recording this at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, so
Broad
the sun
daylight.
is bright. It's very airy. We should be okay.
I think we'll be okay. I'll explain it in like a way that's not gonna be scary.
We're gonna have the most unspooky setup for a spooky
podcast
because.
Okay, let's put our minds to this spooky episode.
Yes, ma'am.
We're in a new location today.
So if the audio is a little weird, honestly, Daisy might be good.
I think she's sleeping. Oh yeah, she's sleeping behind me. Welcome to Tea Tales and Talks, where we talk about spooky things, drink some tea, and try not to get too scared. I'm Sarah, I'll be your host.
And I'm Mackenzie, I'll be your co-host.
For these strange and occasionally unsettling tales. In this episode, we're diving into the creepy Devil Made Me Do It case. So grab a spooky cup and join us for this terrifying case. So today's episode is a pretty famous case, scary, haunting case, plus murder trial. So it kind of encompasses all of the things that we love. We love ghosts, we love murder, we love
talking about it. Is there architecture and interior design in there? We can probably sprinkle.
No, but there's new houses and old houses in it.
Oh, there we go. Close enough. We can make it work. We're back to talking about historical stuff, so haters, back up.
We have our history caps on today. I think we're going to do a little bit of demonologist stuff today.
Oh.
Some what are they called? Judges? Judicial.
Judge, jury, and executioner?
I think not the executioner part, but we are going to be the judge and the jury.
We're today. Not back in the Tower of London times being
the
executioners.
No, this episode is more current.
Okay. We'll just start from the beginning. For today's episode, Sarah, take it away.
Woo! Okay. Today's episode, we're covering the trial of Arnie Johnson. I'm taking out the second last name.
Arnie C., possibly Cheyenne
Johnson. AKA the Devil Made Me Do It case. So, why would you guys be covering a murder case, you may be asking? Well, this homicide case was the first ever to legally use demonic possession as a legal defense. So, it's really mixing the two things that we love. Okay, so a little blessing to start this off, because this episode may be a little bit heavy.
We do not claim any dark or negative energies. Only beings of the highest vibration of light and love are allowed to be around us and anyone listening. Let the source shower us in all in a divine light of protection, dispelling any and all negative energies. Discussing these topics is not an invitation. We are simply relaying the events and experiences of others. With every breath, positivity attracts and negativity repels. Thank you very much, and so it is.
So, this case doesn't even actually start with Arnie Johnson. It actually starts with his girlfriend/wife's family, and specifically with the younger brother, David. So, this case, being as iconic as it is, not only in the paranormal community, but within the judicial system as well, there are so many documentaries and TV shows and films made about this case. Probably the most famous one is the one that involves Ed and Lorraine Warren. It's like one of the Conjuring franchise series. Yeah, of films. I think that's how I first heard about this. I tried to get most of the information straight from the people who actually experienced all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is from a lot of documentaries that I watched. That was kind of a hard thing to like
watch all these documentaries.
Watch all of these like shows and some of the interviews and stuff like that. But I didn't, like, as we know, whenever there's a film adaptation of something, they have to dramatize everything, right?
Oh, they make it so much more than it is or was or whatever. So some of the stuff that I just know about the case is from the movie that I watched, but I didn't want to rely on that because some of it could be not true at all, and I wanted to get, like, we like getting things from the source. Yep. I think that's a good way to put it. Okay, so the Glatzel family, by all accounts, was a fairly average American family. They had 2 parents, 4 kids,
3 boys and 1 girl. The daughter's name was Debbie, and Debbie had a longtime boyfriend named Arnie. Okay, let's go back to 1980. Debbie and Arnie are moving out of her parents' house together and into a cute little farmhouse. A lovely starter home for a young couple around 19 years old.
Oh, that's cute.
Some of the research that I did, a lot of people said Debbie was a little bit older.
Oh.
But I couldn't find anything specific. So when they moved, Arnie was 19.
Okay.
So kind of interesting, but like, you know, the 80s.
You do you. Good.
You do you. So Debbie and Arnie go over to the new house one day to start moving their things in and cleaning up and unpacking. And they brought her 12-year-old brother David along with them. So I think David is the youngest of the family. He's 12 and she's like
19-ish.
Maybe older.
At least 20-ish. Maybe.
So Debbie is a little bit annoyed that the old tenants of the house left their bed in the master bedroom, so they couldn't move all of their stuff in quite yet. So she asked her brother to sweep up the room a little bit while she went to unload boxes from the car and tidy up and whatnot. Everything about this day seemed fine and normal until all of a sudden David ran out of the house and he refused to go back inside. He wanted to go home immediately, and they tried to, like, what's going on? Did something happen? And he was refusing to say anything. He just wanted to go home, and he actually wouldn't go back into the house.
Like he was just standing outside, not moving, saying, like, refusing.
Yes.
Oh.
So David wouldn't tell anyone what was going on. He was so freaked out. But, you know, he's a 12-year-old boy, and they can be kind of temperamental. So Debbie and Arnie kind of brushed it off, like, okay.
He's just being a kid.
He's being a kid. Maybe it's his imagination. Maybe he's just having a moment.
A bug or something.
Who knows?
Whatever. Cleaning up.
Exactly. So they went in to get the rest of their stuff or clean up what they needed to, and then they went home shortly after this. It wasn't until later that evening that everyone noticed David started to act strange and kind of weird and distant. When his mom pushed him to tell her what was going on and what was wrong, he finally told them what happened that day. Okay, so this is from David's account of what happened.
A little 12-year-old boy.
So this is like in the interview he did, he's now a fully grown man, but he's recalling and recounting from when he was 12.
The events, yeah.
So that's just kind of the preface of this. So David was just doing his own thing, sweeping and cleaning up one of the bedrooms, when he felt something weird and something eerie all of a sudden. Just got like an eerie feeling. So he accounts that suddenly he was pushed back onto the bed. And he says that he had a vision of a black-eyed devil-looking thing with horns and pointy ears. He described it as looking like a devil Halloween costume, which, like, I don't really know what that means. But, like, in my head, like, it's like those red guys with, like, the beard, the pointy beard.
Yeah, like your stereotypical devil.
Like,
what you
like
think?
A cartoony devil.
Yeah.
But he was so freaked out by this figure. He also, okay, I don't think that this is like it's not really an inconsistency in my opinion, but it's kind of like he's trying to recall things from
when he was 12.
Yes.
And
in the interview.
A child's memory, and it probably happened so quick.
Exactly. So he kind of describes this thing as being like a creepy devil-looking thing, but he also, in another interview, had described it as like a creepy old man who morphed into kind of like a creepy demon thing. Does that make sense?
But I'm getting Lucifer vibes. Have you seen Lucifer? The show?
Have I seen Lucifer?
It's a TV show.
Yes, I have.
Okay, so do you know when his, like, face, when he, like, turns into, like, the devil and he kind of goes red and then back? That's what I'm kind of picturing.
Okay, you keep picturing that, but I think it's worse than that.
Probably, but I'm going to keep my PG mind in that way.
Yeah. But that is a good point. I think it's kind of like...
that transition.
And it has kind of humanoid features to it, but mixed with, like, the creepy stuff. So the creepy old man, he would mention this many times after this first incident. So he's going to mention him later on. He said that this creepy figure spoke to him and told him to beware that they shouldn't be renting this house and that he wanted to take his soul.
But don't rent and I'm gonna take your soul. What?
And then I don't know if it's David. Oh yeah, David is telling his family that this old creepy dude keeps saying he's coming for me.
Oh.
So, obviously, the kid is freaked out.
Mm-hmm. Rightfully so. I'd be a little uneasy too.
Who wouldn't be? Unfortunately, no one in his family believes him after he just recounted this horrifying experience.
Okay, but what would you do if you had your child come up to you?
I think I'm a little bit different.
True. True. If our kids come up to us, very much we're different. I think back in the this is
80s.
It is in the 80s when this section happened? Okay. Mm-hmm. Talking about the devil?
Yeah, that's true. I can't remember. Maybe it'll come up later in this if they were like a religious family or not, but I think that kind of plays into it too.
I mean, like, no.
If they're more or less open to that kind of things, like, I think we're definitely different.
In every sort of way.
Exactly. But I can see why people would be like, my 12-year-old is making up this, like, ridiculous story.
Yeah, he's just imagining things.
Or he wants attention, or he's...
Yeah, he wants attention. That's honestly... His older sister just moved out. We're more, like, welcoming her into her new home. And now he's
the youngest.
And now he's just making all this stuff up because he wants attention.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can understand.
See it too. So, even his mother thinks, because it was... At this point, when he's telling them, it was later in the evening, that he had fallen asleep and dreamt this whole thing and thought it was real. So they all decided, okay, let's, like, put a pin in this. We're not going to totally dismiss him. We don't want him to feel bad, but they don't really believe him. But they're like, okay, we'll talk about it in the morning. So that night, David was trying to get to sleep, but he had a scary feeling that someone was watching him. So, I don't know if you've ever had that feeling in the middle of the night where you're like, oh, fuck, something's here. Okay, well.
Maybe, but I try not to pay attention to it. Maybe I'm just like, it's okay, it's all good, nothing's gonna happen.
I will say, I think kids, too, are more susceptible to 100%. This kind of...
Animal, like dogs and kids. Daisy will, like, look over there in, like, a specific way. Even my dogs at home will look at it, like, the air in a specific way, and I'm like, there's a ghost here. I know it.
They're seeing something.
Yeah. It's not nothing. They're seeing, like, some sort of motion, energy. Yeah. They're reacting.
So David gets this overwhelming feeling that somebody is watching him. So he goes to his window to check outside, claims that he sees a figure, I guess, standing in the yard, but when he looked away and then looked back, it disappeared. Right? Okay, so another night after this, it's not clear the exact timeline of
events and everything.
Yeah, but it was sometime after. Maybe the next night, maybe a couple nights. The point is, it was after that initial night. David woke up again in the middle of the night screaming, and he woke up everyone in the house, so everybody can account for this.
Yeah, and agrees that it happened.
So he was screaming, he's coming for me, he's gonna get me.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. That's so scary.
In the dead of night.
To have a family member, like, start screaming that?
Yeah. So, obviously everybody rushed in to his room to see if he's okay. When all of a sudden, the house started to rattle violently.
Like, kind of like an earthquake? But no earthquake.
But there's no earthquake.
There's no seismic jerks or whatever going on.
Exactly. So, actually this house rattling violently, both Arnie and one of the other brothers attest that they physically felt the house shake and the lights were flickering and things were actually falling off of shelves. So, like, it wasn't just like a little mini earthquake, it was like a
little, like, rumble
shaking.
You might feel in some rooms.
Yeah.
Things are falling off shelves. That's pretty aggressive.
Yes. And in the meantime, David is still screaming, he's here, he's here.
Oh my gosh.
Don't open the door. He's evil.
Oh my goodness. I probably, in today's time, I would be, like, looking around being like, where are the cameras? Like, this isn't real. This isn't happening. Like, this is a joke.
There's no way that this is happening.
But, like, imagine in the 80s this happening.
I know. Now it's different because people were talking about this. Like, obviously, we're more openly discussing things like this, but at that time, I don't know. Crazy. Anyways, okay. So, in an interview, Debbie, the sister, had said that she pretty much believed David right away because he wasn't one to lie and he didn't like scary things. So he wasn't a kid that would watch scary movies and then have nightmares about it.
And also make things up and, like, tell little fibs and whatever.
So she believed him. But after this incident, needless to say, this was what solidified everything for all of them, that something was going on. Something not of this world.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Normal, copacetic, good and positive.
Something frickin' spooky, okay?
Something is happening.
So the Gatzel family was they were quite religious. In the documentary on Netflix, they show images from their childhood home, and it's like genuinely covered in crucifixes and rosaries and images of Mary and Jesus and different religious statues. It's like they were like hyper religious.
Yeah.
So it's not clear if this was before or after the house shaking incident, but the mother called their priest to come over and bless the house, obviously hoping to kind of flush out whatever negative entity was there.
Yeah, let's
or at least
get
the
it out.
energy.
Something.
Just like freshen it up a little.
Mm-hmm.
The family said there was a neighbor of theirs who did tarot readings, and she suggested to them to reach out to this psychic investigator. Maybe they would be able to help.
A
with
proper
their situation.
PI.
Oh my god, it's a PI.
Our type of PI.
Okay, so me and you, the psychic investigators.
In our other lives.
But in this case specifically, it was Ed and Lorraine
Okay.
Warren. Okay, I would really like to do an entire episode on them because their entire story and their life and their respective abilities, but like Lorraine specifically, Ed has his own, but Lorraine, her abilities and their investigations are so cool. But for now, I'll just give a brief synopsis for anybody who doesn't know who the Warrens are. You may have heard those names if you've watched any of the Conjuring movies, but Ed and Lorraine Warren were real people who made a career out of helping people with paranormal or supernatural predicaments. So Ed was a demonologist, author, and lecturer about the supernatural and the occult, while Lorraine was a natural-born psychic medium who could see and communicate with spirits. They did numerous investigations and cases all throughout the U.S., also a couple in England. We may talk about those in the future. This isn't on here, but one of the things that I found out about Ed that I didn't know before, he's the only like outside source person, demonologist, that is recognized by the Vatican.
Wow.
The Catholic Church. So he's the only guy that they're like, yeah, he's a demonologist.
You need demons to spell? Call Ed.
Call Ed. So he was like...
That's a big title and big thing.
So, okay, one more thing I'll say about that. A lot of people think that they were doing like exorcisms and stuff like that. Which Ed probably could have. He had the knowledge and he was like but they didn't.
Really?
And actually, Ed said before, he would never himself do an exorcism. Like, you need a holy person to do that. So he could help with them and he could kind of like, I don't know, set it up, whatever.
I was elicit? Is that...
I guess.
Can
you elicit an exorcism?
He
was
was
doing it.
Ed was doing
it. But he was not doing them just himself. So that's something that I have to like debunk.
What a like also like very complimentary like skill set to have as like a couple.
Yeah.
Right? Like yin and yang, like they very much balance each other out.
Yeah.
And probably support each other and like, I don't know, it's just pretty cool.
I don't know if anybody has ever watched the show The Dead Files.
I don't think I have.
But it's
I'll add it to my list.
It's actually really interesting. It's not that scary. But it's
The X-Files?
The Dead Files.
Oh.
The X-Files is the like aliens and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I think I've seen like an episode and I was like,
no, not that one.
And there were like aliens and I was like,
But this one, it's like a ex-homicide investigator and a psychic medium. So they do investigations together. So like she walks through the house and feels and communicates, and she's like, this is what's going on, this is who's here, this is what you need to do about it. And he like physically investigates and looks through the history of the house and like talks to people, and
That's cool.
so it's really cool. So they are kind of like a modern day Ed and Lorraine Warren, but the Warrens were doing this long before anyone else was doing it. So that's all I'll say about Ed and Lorraine. They're not really the stars of this,
but they come up.
But they do come up. They come up a little bit. Okay, so at this point in the story, David is acting super strange and claiming he keeps seeing an old burnt-up man with a long white beard who wears jeans and a flannel.
So specific and also terrifying.
Creepy. So
if it was just a person with a long beard and the jeans and flannel, just an everyday Canadian, burnt up, scary.
So he says at night, this burnt-up old man turns into the beast or creepy devil figure that he saw at the other house.
Holy crap. This kid, what is he seeing?
So he's seeing a lot. And it could be just one entity kind of shape-shifting, I suppose. So the family is like, okay, we need to do something now. We need to help, and we need to know what's going on with David. The least. We need to just figure out what's going on with him. Like, he's freaking out. He's seeing things. We need to...
This poor kid. Oh, my gosh.
So, Debbie calls Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed answers her call, and she tells him that they need help ASAP. And she explains that everything that's been happening with David. Ed asks if David had been to see a doctor, and she said he hasn't. So, Ed asks if he could bring a doctor with him when they come. Yeah. So... They come over to meet the Gatzel family and everyone, and the doctor tested David and said there was nothing wrong with him physically or mentally.
Okay, good.
So this wasn't like a psychological
break, or he's not feeling well, he's been exposed to some sort of airborne illness or whatever. Yeah.
Which I kind of appreciate that they wanted to bring in a doctor first to
and
be
double
like
check.
At least rule out if it's something inside him that's kind of causing him to see things. Or
maybe he has lead poisoning from being in an old house or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So I think that was a smart move. The family then explains to the Warrens what has been happening so far. So they have a conversation, and this is actually recorded, and some of the recording is in the documentary on Netflix. Ed sort of asks how David is feeling about these things, and then their mom starts to explain that it wasn't just one single thing that had happened. It was like a lot of things. And then the big incident with the house shaking and...
everything falling.
Yes.
Hell breaking loose, as some may say.
Exactly. So it was kind of sad to hear the mom talking about this, because it's like a actual recording of them. And she said, like, we aren't lying. We're just trying to get rid of this thing. So, like... At this point, I think they were starting to get desperate because they...
And really believe it, too. Because, like, remember, like, you said at the beginning that they didn't really believe him. They, like, kind of brushed it off as nothing.
Yeah.
And now they're like, okay, something is actually seriously going on. And we need to fix it.
Kind of their, I would say, like the common routes that they would go. Like, they asked the priest to come over and bless the house, but it obviously didn't work. It didn't do what... it should have
They were
done.
hoping it would do,
yes. So now they're like, okay, he's still seeing stuff. He's still being terrorized. Like, what do we do?
And also now they're starting to be kind of terrorized.
It's
like,
affecting
if it's the whole household.
Everybody. Exactly. So the family goes on to say that they were incredibly hopeful that Ed and Lorraine could help them to solve whatever was going on and let them go back to normal, living their normal lives. So Ed starts to kind of provoke the entity to get it to show itself so that him and Lorraine can see if it's real. So
kind of calling it out of its cave.
Yes.
In a way.
They're also, I think, like I said before, they like called the doctor to come in with them to kind of, I don't want to say debunk, but kind of, if they needed to. Like, they have multiple steps for, like, verifying if something really is going on.
I was going to say, like, pre-diagnose in a way, but I don't know if that's it? Kind of? If there was any, like you said, underlying conditions that could be causing...
That's not paranormal.
What they're seeing.
Yes. So they have steps that they take because they can't just answer every single call, and like anybody who is like, I have a ghost in my house, they can't
That's
just
a
go,
lot. Yeah.
right? Like they have to verify if
Time
there
and
really is
money.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ed, that's kind of his way of proving it's real, but also it allows Lorraine to kind of see things with her mind's eye, with her mediumship abilities.
Third eye, yep.
Like what the entity is, what it looks like, if she can connect with it or communicate. So he's provoking to like get the
It going.
energies kind of going.
Wake it up.
Moving a little bit. Stirring the pot, if you will.
There we go. There we go. We figured out the saying.
Ed asks the entity to knock on the table 3 times, and suddenly they all hear 3 loud bangs that cause the whole room to shake.
Holy shit.
At this point, they say that Ed asks David if he's frightened by this thing, and David says he's scared that the thing will hurt him for talking to them about it. In another documentary, he said he had also told his sister Debbie that the figure told him he was mad at him for telling them that he saw it. So whatever the entity is, it's like, no, you can't tell anyone about it. No, you can't.
Like he wants to be a secret.
Yeah.
Just remain being as
isolate him into, So,
this poor little kid.
and he's 12.
Also, imagine like going to school while also having like
I know,
kind of things going on.
I hope it's summer break. I just really hope that
he's just at home.
he doesn't have to just, like, right? Like, you go to school and then you have to come back and, like, be haunted by a demon.
And then also like convincing your parents that, hey, this is real. I'm
This is
seeing
happening.
this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you remember last weekend when the house was shaking? Yeah, this is what I was telling you about.
Yeah, so that was the demon that I told you guys about, by the way. So while this is going on, while Ed is sort of interviewing them, Lorraine is walking around the house trying to get a feel for the space and if she can see or pick up on anything. The family said that Lorraine came back over and whispered to Ed that there was a large black mass standing next to the boy and that it was evil.
Holy.
So obviously the family's like, what the fuck? Because they can't see anything.
Yeah.
But she's picking up on this.
You have the professionals come in and then you have them saying, yeah, there's something.
There's a demon. So Ed and Lorraine concluded that after this interview session, there was in fact a demonic entity, not just a ghost. So this wasn't just like some basic haunting shit. This was like
a soul trapped in kind of purgatory. This was a demon.
No, this is a demon. So Ed Warren had determined, okay, this is kind of like not just specific to this case, but in his wide case of working with demons, trying to banish demons or whatever.
Yeah.
In his profession, he has determined that there are 5 steps of hauntings and their progressions.
Okay,
so the first is permission. This is the first step.
Yep.
So somehow or some way, the individual invites or lets the paranormal get a little grip on them. This can happen through like Ouija boards or seances or seeking out to connect with them.
This is why I don't touch Ouija boards. But I understand. You kind of open the door to let stuff come in.
And I think it's an important distinction to make that you have to know when you're opening the door, that in of itself is an invitation. That being said, we did our little blessing and we are not inviting anything in. We are just talking about it. Okay. So after permission, then it becomes infestation. So that's the second step. So basically, at that point, spirits are inside the house, but totally external from you, the person. So this is usually like a regular ghost or like a loved one
that you like see kind of in the
or energy
space
around you, but they're not really interacting with you. Maybe a little bit with like the physical space, and maybe you see them or you hear something, but everything is external.
Yeah.
So you're living amongst it. I guess that's kind of a way you could say it. So in this stage, the presence is noticeable, but it's not alarming or especially harmful or disruptive or anything like that.
Noticeable too.
Yes. So after that, it's the stage of oppression.
Okay.
So this is a little bit more of an extreme haunting where an entity or spirit is trying to influence or manipulate the individual and their actions. So it's like one step up from a haunting. This would be more like a poltergeist. So when not only are they in the space, but they're trying to take over the space.
Yeah.
And control you and what you're thinking and doing and feeling.
Yeah.
So that's oppression. And I think kind of a good way to like explain it is like being oppressed means that you're being like
subdued.
Kind of like there's something putting pressure on you. Not suppression, but oppression. But it's a similar
it's
like
pushing you down, yeah.
You're being suppressed. Like your spirit is trying to be suppressed.
Muffled.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're trying to muffle you, who you are, so they can kind of manipulate.
Put them in. Yep.
So the next step up from oppression is then possession. So this is not very common, but it is a point where an entity has control over an individual's mind and body.
Whoa.
So it's not necessarily the way that we see in movies and stuff like that. Like there's something in you. Mm-hmm. It's not that. Like your spirit is still there. You are still there, but something has like total control over your physical body, if that makes sense. And then the next step up from that is death.
Oh.
Which is the most rare outcome. Like really rare. Yep. But it's a possibility of the progression. It's the last stage of the progression.
It has to end somewhere.
Yes. So, okay. I want to send a little light for everyone listening. That is rude.
As the truck goes by.
I want to send a little light for everyone listening, as well as surround us, just to give us a little extra love and protection while we talk about the rest of this case. Blessings. So, at this point, Ed told the Gatzel family to start documenting things that were happening, and in the meantime, he was going to help them get some actual help from the church, because Ed has his connections. Even more than they do, even though they're super religious, he has more, like, inside connections.
And especially with dealing with this sort of situation kind of going on, I feel like Ed is the connection to have.
Kind of at this point, they need professionals to help them. Mm-hmm. Faith can be strong and wonderful, but sometimes you need somebody who is maybe a little bit more connected than you are. Has a little bit more knowledge about these things too.
Teachings, experience,
it's
whatnot.
Also probably better for you not to dabble in things that you don't know about. Let somebody who's professional, this is their job, let them handle it.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone was taking turns keeping an eye on David and his behavior, which was beginning to get worse. He would start growling and saying weird things like "you will die" and cursing at people and having these fits where he would fly onto the floor. And obviously everyone was so scared by this.
Yeah.
Because it was very obviously not like him. He wasn't a kid to have even like tantrums. Like he was not.
You mentioned that Debbie was shocked about like saying, or she said that he would never tell a lie. Like he wouldn't make stuff up. Like, so seeing him now throwing himself across the room
and growling and like cursing, which like
my goodness,
I think that they would not be doing that if they're like a pretty religious family.
Yeah.
So it's just like super, super out of the ordinary for him. They were documenting things from then on.
Yep.
They were documenting things. Okay. So there's a recording and photos to go along with it. One of the worst of his fits that happened. It's pretty scary. And in the Netflix documentary, I had to mute it and skip past a couple parts because it was like actually very terrifying for me even.
Really?
So
why am I so brazy that I now want to turn this on and watch it?
I don't think that you should, because even I was like, I'm not like
I know you're not
very
so
religious
why am
person,
I
and I'm not scared, but like because you can hear his voice and him like growling and talking,
and it's
like not a very settling feeling. So I had to mute it. And I was reading the subtitles.
I appreciate you taking that for us, even though I'm slightly
you guys are welcome.
Intrigued.
You better like and follow and comment on all of our stuff.
Please comment. I really like reading the little comments.
We love comments.
I like interacting with people.
And we love it when you guys send us things. Like emails. Like stories and things. And messages.
Yeah.
We love that. So, this is the situation. I'm calling it an episode, okay?
Okay.
That he's having. So he is growling and cursing at people and like kind of threatening people.
It's startling.
And it's like, it's very, very aggressive and very violent. And the family is yelling for somebody to call the priest to come. Obviously, like they don't know what to do.
Somebody.
This is their like, we don't know what to do.
Your child is literally freaking the frick out.
Freaking out. And he is obviously under the influence of something evil, like not good. So the mom starts praying and they all try to hold him down because he's getting increasingly more violent with them, and he's like being thrown around. Like it's just him, but like his body is like throwing itself around, I guess.
Yeah.
Also he was at some points being choked by an invisible force. So they could see what was happening. Like he was choking, not choking on something, but being choked. Like his airways were like being closed, suffocated. I don't know how to explain it, but it was by something invisible. There's even a photo they took where he is like screaming and he's like holding his hands like this because it's like very obvious that he feels something around his neck.
You said this, and we're no visuals, so Sarah was holding her hands up to her neck, as in a choking motion.
We have no visuals. I gotta start putting pictures or something. I'll make like a presentation for you.
I can do that.
I can't keep acting things out. I'm just
with our sound effects and everything.
Too many sound effects.
You let me know. I'll do the presentation. You can do the freaking editing because I just sit here for comedic relief.
Okay, we can do that.
Perfect.
Slang. So he's being choked by an invisible force, and everybody is holding on to. Oh no! Okay, so in the photo, it's him holding on to like somebody's hands or arms. Like, if you can picture what that looks like. If somebody's choking you and you're trying to hold, like
grab on,
pull them off, that's what he looked like. But there was nothing there. But he was in the photo screaming, like he was obviously distressed. So David said the only thing that he remembers from this whole episode was being choked and then blacking out for all of it. So he really doesn't, he remembers up until being choked. So he doesn't really remember, I guess, the thrashing. I don't know what he was saying. He just remembers being choked and blacking out. And they said that this was going on and getting progressively worse and more violent. So it wasn't a short instance. It was like started slow and then it started to progress and it lasted a very long time. So much so that throughout the night they would sleep in shifts just so that there was always someone watching David to make sure he wouldn't hurt himself or somebody else.
Damn.
So he was on watch. This is a sad note, but in the documentary they talked about the father and that he didn't really believe anything that was happening. And he thought that David had some sort of a mental illness going on, and he became very distant, not only from their mother, but from the whole family. There wasn't anything that I could find about the oldest brother, but a few things that I found said he was also denying that this was real. And I guess they didn't want to be at all part of this, at all part of the story. They don't want to talk to anyone about this. I think that this is kind of a trend, and we do have another story that's along these lines. Similar. Yeah. I think it's kind of a trend that, like, dads are not the strongest of believers when paranormal instances are happening.
Occurring, yeah.
But it's kind of an interesting dot that kind of connects these, yeah.
Role in the household, at least, right?
So kind of a weird commonality between these types of situations that are happening. Mm-hmm. So the family calls up Ed and Lorraine, and Ed and Lorraine tell the family basically, he's possessed. Like, he is on the last basically stage of a haunting. There's something a hold of him.
Yeah. A dark force, whatever, dark spirit.
Yes.
Lash. Yep.
And basically they need to get an exorcism ASAP. I think that Ed and Lorraine had tried to do some of their own things to pull out
like trial runs kind of to figure out what was going on?
They're trying to pull information out of whatever entity is attached to him or taking over him. Because it helps them to, like, banish it, I guess.
I was just about to say, like, knows how to dispel it properly.
Yes. When you know all of, like the name of it. If you know
its
what its
backstory,
purpose, blah, blah, blah.
why it's holding on, what specifically it's holding on to, how to get rid of it.
This is kind of how you...
unloop it.
Get it out, yes. Yeah, kind of like detangling almost.
Yeah.
So from their personal methods that they were doing, they found out that at one time there were 43 demons inside David.
43?
Yes. So it wasn't even just
one single entity.
It was like one,
what
and
the
he
heck
invited all his buddies.
What the heck did he see in that house?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
So getting an exorcism is not an easy task. It has to go through a whole process and, like, an application, basically. It's not as easy as run to the church and say, we need an exorcism.
Hi, I need an exorcism next Thursday at 7 p.m.
They go, please fill out this paperwork, and we will approve your application. We'll process your application.
Oh, while the devil is still in me.
Yes, so it's not like a quick fire thing that you can just do. Like, there's a whole process to it before you can actually get it. But because of the evidence that they had captured, they sent it over to a cardinal who fairly quickly was like, yeah, you guys need an exorcism. Let's move this along.
Confirm.
But it was like a month after this, like, huge episode had happened. So,
oh my gosh.
Like I said, it wasn't just like this one thing happened, now we need an exorcism and we get one. It's like, no, it took a month to kind of...
Yeah, like, they're reviewing the application.
Yeah. But they said that was fast-tracked because of the evidence they had, but then I can't imagine how long it would take under other circumstances.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Right? So, the entire Gatzel family was invited to St. Joseph's Church in Brooksfield to have a mini exorcism done for David. Everyone was worried about him, obviously, and David recounts that he really only remembers the beginning of the prayers of the exorcism, and that's it. So he blacked out this entire thing.
That's interesting.
So I think some people think that when there's, like, a possession and that happens, that it's really taking over your mind. So you have no recollection of anything that happened. Because you, like...
It wasn't you.
Okay, like I said, your spirit is there, but it's like everything that's in your body... you have no control over it.
Yeah, it's being, like, completely covered and masked and taken over.
Yes, exactly.
So while you're present, you're not present.
You're not present.
You're there, but blacked out.
So David's behavior changes instantly, and the energy in the whole church shifts.
Ooh.
So they said that he began growling again and jerking around and trying to attack the priest so much that they had to pin him down to the floor, but his body was contorting in ways that it really should not have been able to. Arnie recalls holding him down and telling him how much Jesus loves him and how weak the entity is and how it can't hurt a child of God. I put in brackets, amen. So Arnie grabs one of the blessed crosses that are at the church. Yeah. And he puts it onto David's forehead. And everybody that's there says that you can actually see it sizzle against his skin. So that's like a confirmation. Obviously something evil is in him. They said then his tongue began to swell so much that he couldn't breathe or talk or anything. And everyone is, like, screaming because they're scared that something's going to happen. He's going to suffocate. So they're begging the priest to stop because they're like, it's hurting him.
Help. Yeah.
And this is the point where Arnie did something that I will say is the number one thing that you should never, ever, ever do when, like, encountering things not of our current world, okay?
Yeah.
He screamed out for the thing to let go of David and to take him instead. So Arnie invited this thing in to him, like, flat out said, take me instead.
Here I am.
So in that moment, he said he felt ice coldness come over his whole body. And Lorraine Warren said, what did you do? But then, suddenly, everything calmed down. And they all felt like wow, okay, it's over. It worked. The exorcism worked.
Stop.
The end.
No.
Just kidding.
She got me.
After the final incident at the church with the exorcism and Arnie yelling for the entity to take him instead, Ed and Lorraine Warren went to the local police station and spoke with officers there. So Lorraine explained the situation that had happened, and the officers were aware of something weird going on at the Gatzel house, probably because of noise complaints, things like that. Like, what's going on? Like, there's something happening in the house.
There's some crazy shit happening next door. I hear some screaming. I hear some praying. I hear...
So the reason that Lorraine was at the police station was because she had sort of a premonition that a serious death or injury with a knife was going to happen involving Arnie, and she tried to relay this to the police, but they didn't necessarily believe her. At this point, it's a couple of months later, and now it's 1981. Mm-hmm. And Debbie and Arnie have finally moved out into their own apartment.
Nice.
They got new jobs, and they're like, wow, okay, we can finally breathe now. The storm has passed. Everything is done and dealt with.
David's okay. We're now settled in. Life's going as usual.
It's good. Exactly. So Debbie works as a pet groomer, and she and Arnie soon became friends with her boss, Alan Bono. Okay. In their minds, they were finding their peace and forgetting about everything that had happened. Mm-hmm. However, their peace was very short-lived. Lorraine had said that when you challenge a demonic entity, it doesn't necessarily attack or attach right away. Often, it will wait for you to be at your most vulnerable. One day in February, Arnie and Debbie go to spend the day with Arnie's sisters and Debbie's younger cousin. They stop over to see and have lunch with Alan Bono, and this is where things start to shift. So Arnie says that he had not been feeling too great leading up to this situation. Like, just a little bit under the weather, but he wanted to have a nice day out with their families, right? While having lunch, he said, we had a few glasses of wine, but Alan Bono was getting a lot more intoxicated than they were, and he was getting a little bit rowdy.
Oh, okay.
And Arnie says he suggested for them to leave because he didn't want the young girls around that environment. Mm-hmm. And he recounts walking down the stairs to leave, and that was the last thing that he remembered from that point on. So Alan Bono was becoming belligerently drunk and not wanting the others to leave. He then grabbed hold of Debbie's 9-year-old cousin's arm and wouldn't let her go. This is what kind of incited a fight between Bono and Arnie, which I have to say, as a preface, they were both drinking, okay?
Yeah.
Back at the Gatzel house, Debbie had called her mom to come over and help. And David says that at this point he had a vision himself of a man laying on the ground dead, and he tells his brother that it was the beast, like the creepy figure entity that he had been seeing, that Arnie was possessed and that he killed somebody. So Debbie tells the police the two men had been drinking and they were fighting, and Arnie ran into the woods. She thought he was on his way to the Gatzel house. The ambulance driver was taking Alan Bono to the hospital when he saw somebody walking along the street that looked like what Arnie's description was, like the suspect. Then police find Arnie 2 miles away from Alan Bono's place. Arnie doesn't come to until he's being arrested and he's at the police station, so he doesn't know anything that happened until that point. He said he felt so tired and so exhausted, and he was so confused, and he kept asking, why am I here? What happened? The arresting officers recall Arnie being drunk and incoherent before he passed out or fell asleep for about 25 minutes. They let him know that he had just stabbed and killed his friend Alan, and he was in total disbelief because he has no memory of it. They said Arnie really couldn't recall anything, and he kept telling them, there's no way I did this. Like, you have the wrong person. I didn't do this. Yeah. So Arnie is charged with this murder, obviously, because he did it, and they sought for the defense of demonic possession. So it's kind of like a subcategory to being insane. So it's like you had no idea what you were doing, therefore you cannot be held responsible for it. Mm-hmm. So instead of pleading insanity, they pled possession. Arnie's attorney did a lot of research for this case and spoke with Ed and Lorraine Warren about this extensively. And he quickly became convinced of the possibility of possession when he was shown the tapes of David's possession. So this would become the first time in United States history that the defense of demonic possession was used. Media and journalists had a hard time even covering this case because, as one journalist said in one of the documentaries, they couldn't really prove or disprove any of it. Some people in the paranormal community were offering their support and assistance if needed, but of course there was also the skeptics saying that this case was so obviously a drunk fight ending in a stabbing. So there was kind of two sides were yelling the whole time.
Yeah, sure.
So the job of the defense attorney was to prove beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt that this was a result of a possession and Arnie did not act on his own accord. The family was so sure he would be found innocent because they had so much evidence. Everything that happened with David, everything that happened at the church, how much he was like a totally normal, nice guy, right? Like, he wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
They thought that they were good. Arnie was facing 25 to life. There were crowds and crowds of people watching this because they wanted to see the trial of the century, right? The devil on trial. Ultimately, the judge said that this wasn't an acceptable defense and would not allow them to use that for the trial. It was said that there were 6 priests at the hearing before the trial who at that moment got up at the same time and left. So there were 6 priests who were
In the audience,
like kind of like ready for like, okay, they're going to proceed with the trial. And as soon as the judge said, no, we're not proceeding, you can't use that defense, they got up and left. Didn't say anything. And the church, like the Catholic Church, didn't comment on this case at all. So it was a little bit hard for me to find, but I'm guessing that at that time the church in general, like as an institution, was like backing them up, saying like, yeah, for sure that this is a possibility.
Could have happened.
But then as soon as the judge said, we can't do that, like that's not
approvable,
get a better defense,
yeah,
then the church was like, we're not commenting any further, we're removed from this now. It's not us.
Ain't us.
So the plea they went with was self-defense, but even that was hard to prove because Bono was stabbed 4 times. So it wasn't like a self-defense would be 1 time, right? But this was like he intentionally kept hurting him. This was the only option, though, to try to prevent Arnie from getting life in prison. In November of 1981, Arnie was found guilty of manslaughter in the 1st degree, and he was given the maximum sentence of 10 to 15 years. After the verdict, Debbie's mother went on sort of like a press tour with Ed and Lorraine Warren, trying to get the word out about Arnie and how he was innocent. There were kind of talks of a book deal, and there was a lot of money made from this whole story and this whole situation and how much attention it was getting. Kind of what I found was why a lot of people were really skeptical was because they were making a lot of money from this. So they were kind of like,
reaping the benefits.
You guys are getting benefits from this, so we don't really believe it. Anyways, Debbie and Arnie got married while he was in prison, and he was released after 5 years. So he got sentenced to 10 to 15, but he got out in 5 for good behavior. And him and Debbie remained married until she passed away in 2021. So I have to do our due diligence and note that the oldest brother of the Gatzel family is adamant that the events of this whole story totally fake, and that the family both used this for publicity and money, as well as were used by Ed and Lorraine Warren for the same reasons. So like I said, some people were skeptical because of the money and publicity that they were getting, and I think a lot of people felt that the family was maybe being taken advantage of by Ed and Lorraine, which we can only speculate. And these are just the facts that we have. This is just the stuff that I researched. So form your own opinion on what you think really happened and what you believe. As always, it's up to you to determine what you believe is true, but we ask that the conversations or debates remain respectful and kind. Just because someone has a different belief than you doesn't mean they're wrong. Multiple things can be true at the same time.
So, what do you guys think? Can ghosts have influences on the living? I mean, there's so many other stories and cases of this happening, but this is the first case brought to a legal trial in front of a judge with spiritual interference as a defense.
What do you guys think?
What do you think?
Tell us.
So, until next time, our twitchy witchy friends, stay spooky and don't let your tea get cold.